Welcome to the Alternative Dog Moms podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom for more than 10 years. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I began raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott from the Believe in Dog podcast. For more than 10 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself. And I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned in case it could help you too. As the Alternative Dog Moms, Kimberly and I are bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and the brilliant people we're meeting along the way. Now let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin.
It's nice to be here with you. We've had a good run of guests again.
Ew. So quiet in the room. I have my kombucha.
Nice.
Yay, I'm exhausted. It's hot. It's hot. And I'm like a whiny person because of it. It's mid-90s. I mean, I shouldn't complain too much because we have portable AC units. But I've had to change my clothes. And I don't wear shorts because I hate my knees. But I am wearing shorts right now because it's just way too hot. And I was tempted to go and buy like a loose sundress because it's like, I want to be in a muumuu right now because I am so uncomfortable.
How do the dogs do in the heat?
Well, they're so funny because they're kind of, they slow down a little bit. And then I make the motion towards the door. They're like, oh, we're going outside. And they race outside. And then the heat hits them.
Yep.
Apollo and Zoe just go and lay down someplace. Apollo lays in the sun. Zoe lays in the shade. Eventually, Apollo will get up and move sometimes if I'm out there long enough and move to this shade. And Bella and Buffy they just go trotting around. I have a video that I'm going to post soon where Buffy scares herself all the time. And it's so hilarious because I've just been watching her as she's trotting around, walking around the yard, and she'll see something and she'll slowly, lean into it. And then all of a sudden she jumps back. And I'm like, what scared you now? I mean, it's just so hilarious. And but yeah, she's like not really bothered by the heat at all. Neither is Bella, although Bella she'll just come and lay down. And what's hilarious is today, because yesterday and today have been the hottest days so far. Yesterday was probably 90 and today's mid-90s. And Bella was on the porch. I was like calling around looking for Bella and I turn around. She's on the porch at the door like, no, I'm ready to go back in now. I mean, I used the bathroom. I'm done. I don't want to be out here anymore. And so, yeah. How about you?
All my old girls, Lucy and Kahlua and Penny, they were all sun worshipers. They loved to go outside and, be the baked potato in the sun. These two dogs, Nino and Daisy Girl, they are not like loungers outside. They are patrollers. They go out there. They just want to make sure nothing is under attack from squirrels. There's nothing that needs to be chased. And then they want to come right back in. So that's kind of like she'll stay out there and run patrols for a long time if the weather's ideal. But Nino, especially as an old man, he just kind of goes out, pees on top of her pee, and then comes back inside. So regardless of the temperature, that's kind of been how he is these days. And yeah, if it's way too hot, then she's not doing multiple patrols. She's just kind of scooping it out and coming right back in. But yeah. Neither of them are like, they don't go lay in the shade or the sun. Like they're out there to do work and come back.
Yeah, it's funny because they're today, actually, I was surprised because I was calling for the dogs. I'm juggling so many things today. I have deadlines that I'm trying to meet and which I've met, and getting ready to talk to you. And I want to get the dogs fed because by the time we finish, it won't be too late for them to eat. But it's like I just want to not do anything, and then I haven't been eating all day, so I ate something really quickly. And I'm just juggling all these things. And so I go outside, the grill won't turn on. So I put a hot dog on the stove, and then I put the dogs in the yard so they can use the bathroom. And then I notice dual poops happening. So I go back, turn the stove down, go back outside, scoop up the dual poops, and I'm doing like all these going back and forth and going back and forth and doing all of this. 3 dogs vanish. And I'm like, well, where do they go? And I call and they're like on the other side of the property. And I was actually quite impressed because, they've been staying close to home from all day long. But, they came back and they were like, came right back in the house. And it's funny because they run to the water bowl and start drinking it as
Yes,
if just like we were outside for 15 minutes,
and it
guys.
goes everywhere.
Yes, exactly. It's like, come on, you're fine. But yeah, it's been a good day. I wish I didn't have to go into work tomorrow. I want a day where I just sit and lounge, but I know that I would never just sit and lounge. So I will go to work.
Yeah, I have some rope action going on over
Yes, you do.
here. So, are you still using Tavati?
I am. I think I have 4 more left. At first, I thought I was seeing a difference, but I think that was just wishful thinking. But I think I am seeing a difference in that I took her off of everything else. So no more CBD, no more Winpro, no more red light therapy. And then suddenly she started like about a week ago, not even a week ago, about 4 days ago, she started limping like crazy. So I brought it all back in. And so we're doing red light therapy. She's getting her Winpro. So that stuff clearly was making a difference for her. But it took a while for me to notice that there was a difference. So I think within the first couple weeks, I noticed that she was more comfortable jumping up on the furniture. She was running out of the house, running back into the house. She was going on longer walks. But when with the lack of the other things I was doing, that eventually caught up to her and started slowing her down. But it wasn't like she was licking her joints or anything like that. She was just slowing down. So I started doing everything the top of this week. And so I'm hoping that everything builds up again within a week and we'll have a all new girl. But yeah, I do see a difference. What about you?
Yeah, now, Nino's been having some mobility challenges for the last couple months. He seems to keep needing chiropractic adjustments, and I don't know what is, like, causing him to go out of alignment so much.
Mhm.
At first, we thought maybe he had just, like, jumped off the bed or sometimes he'll get the zoomies and jump up on the bed, which he doesn't do on, like, a regular basis anymore, and so we thought maybe there was just, like, a one-off situation that was happening that had caused it, but then it happened a couple more times, and so what I will say is it took longer for me to see a difference than, like, I thought it would, but I am seeing a difference now
Mhm.
because for the first couple weeks now, I was still doing most of everything else I was doing, but he was still seeming to, like, have a little bit of trouble getting around because this has kinda been an ongoing thing for the last, like, 2 months, I'd say. And all of a sudden this week, I feel like we have the baby gate up for our house, and so it has, like, a bar that's, like, always there, and he has to kinda he could walk over it, but, like, he'll usually kinda hop over it, and I could kinda judge, like, if he hops over it, I know he's feeling good, but sometimes he'll just kinda step over it and is, like, just
Mhm.
barely clearing it, or he's banging into it, and that's when I feel like he's having a bad day. So, like, all this week, he's just been flying over it, like, I
Well, that's
feel
so
like it
great.
probably took, over 3 weeks, but now I'm like, "Oh, he's feeling good," you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I think it's one of those it's definitely not a replacement, it's an addition.
and yeah,
So
and it's not gonna be like a one and done,
Mhm.
a one day or, the tubes were like, smaller than I expected, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
I well, the size didn't surprise me. It was
it's very light, I guess, like, the whole package is, like, very
Yeah.
light.
Yes. And, the amount of oil, like, I'm sitting here, like, squeezing this thing out. And I'm like,
Yeah, I
"This is
wanna make sure I get all of it out of there.
I'm like that person where it's like, I'm gonna get every single drop. But the smell is a nice smell, um, and actually, at first well, at first, Zoe, at first she thought it was a treat, so she kept trying to bite at it. And then when she figured out but it didn't take long before I would pull out and come over to her, and she'll, like, turn around for
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
she knows what it is, and so that was kinda cool. So I wonder if she is like, if she made the connection that is helping her feel better, or if it's just simply she's, "Oh, this is what she's gonna do right now." So that was really cool.
Yeah, Nino was al he's always very suspicious of anything new, so yeah, but he seemed to get with the program pretty quickly. Although Tim kept saying, like, "Why does he look so greasy?" And I'm like, "I'm
Yes.
doing the thing. He's not
Yeah.
greasy. I'm
Exactly.
doing a thing."
So so yes, KetoPet Naturals.
Yes, Daniel. I was like, "Hell yeah, man."
That was so exciting when you sent me that message, and it was hilarious. I loved, Susan Thixton's article about it, especially when she goes into, all like, she didn't even really go into detail as to all that was done to fool pet parents into thinking that this is a real issue. I mean, just the manipulations, the lies, I mean, it was astounding. And someone actually I shared it on social media and someone commented that your well, they reshared it to their stories and they made a note on it saying that they did so much to convince us that if you questioned it, you were nuts and this is right. And I was just like, I know it was so crazy. They were so aggressive. I mean, I had one of the veterinarians was commenting on bloggers' articles. He commented on mine. I mean, they were they had their little group and their groups would come out and just attack you mercilessly if you questioned anything about DCM. And it's just like, and it's hilarious because now nothing. You don't hear a peep from any of these people. I mean, I would love to hear someone, one of the most vicious people, not even the veterinarians, just the individuals who bought into that crap and basically did the dirty work of
Mhm.
harassing people online, come forward and say, "Hey, I got this wrong." I mean, I would have so much respect for that, but this is social media and I didn't join Facebook yesterday, so I know that'll never happen.
I'll put in links in the show notes to the previous episodes where we've had Daniel from KetoPet on explaining his lawsuit and the conspiracy by the FDA and other and Hills and other companies and veterinarians to basically create this false narrative that it was these grain-free diets causing DCM.
Yeah. Someone else said, and I thought this was such a great point, someone else said um, that it was interesting that they did all of this. It drove down the stock price of a company. I don't know if it's the stock price or just the valuation of the company, drove it way down. And then suddenly some of the people behind it bought that company.
And this is exactly what Daniel's lawsuit is kind of alleging, that,
Mhm,
whether it was purposeful market
mhm,
manipulation for that purpose or just general to take the market share back, that this was the reason behind this campaign. And so, I listen to true crime. I don't listen to every true crime podcast out there, but, one of the things I have followed since the beginning was the Murdoch murders, where that lawyer in South Carolina
yeah.
killed his family, and I followed this woman named Mandy Matney, who is a journalist who was responsible for covering a lot of that and uncovering a lot of the financial crimes that she believes were the motives for his
Mhm.
murder. So, in the lawsuit about anyway, there's a connected lawsuit that has to do with underage kids and buying alcohol from, like, a place called Parker's that was like a liquor store, gas station, like the big stores that are like all around South Carolina. And this Parker's owner guy is this billionaire, and he was really mad that he was somehow brought into connection with this. And so through this lawsuit, it came out that he paid like over $300,000 to some firm to basically like buy trolls and buy, like,
Wow.
internet people to go on and, like, bot accounts and, like,
Mhm.
be programmed to, like, anytime something with this came up to, like, trash the going narrative or to, make him look better. It was called litigation mitigation. And so, I wonder when, if when stuff like this comes out, like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, does go on, and if anybody's ever seen Homeland, there's an episode of Homeland where they show people doing this kind of stuff, like the disinformation online, and, like, I mean, I gotta wonder, is this the kind of stuff that
Well,
goes on with the amount of money I'm
I've
getting
seen it
paid?
I've seen it in the movie circles of, like, if a movie comes out. I'm seeing it right now with the, Odyssey movie. I mean, where people and I've seen it with other movies where and it goes both ways, where people will go and leave reviews. Companies will buy up tickets. It's just sort of like with, the publishing houses. They'll buy up books so
Mhm.
that they can be in the number whatever, the top
The New
100 or
York
whatever.
Times, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
bestseller.
When no, that's not because we bought the books, it's because they bought the books.
Right.
And the same thing is with, music that, so many things are just it's all business,
Manipulated?
it's all
Yeah.
money, yeah, and it's like I was watching a video today that was explaining how the Rotten Tomato scores aren't what we think that they are.
That doesn't shock me.
That they incorporate all these other things that have nothing to do with reviews for the movies into those scores. So, like, something that has shows a 97% fresh probably is more like 50% because of the pushing it out there. And it's just like and it's funny because it was just sort of like they were like, "This is what we think is going on." We looked at their code, and this is what we think they're doing. And I'm just sitting here like, "Yeah, I'm not I don't believe anything anymore." And
It
it's
feels
funny
that
because,
way.
10 years ago, this was, "Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist," and, da, 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 and whereas today, I feel like if you're not a conspiracy theorist, then you're fooling yourself. You're purposefully
If you're
choosing to
not
be
skeptical, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like because you cannot believe in it's like if someone is making money, they are not on your side, and and this goes to the next topic of this is my new, tinfoil hat, is that people have a vested interest in keeping pet parents ignorant. And the fact that so many of us are taking the steps to educate ourselves, we are even if we're only it's only a fraction of the money, but we're taking money out of other people's pockets. And this is why we're seeing so many people. And it wasn't surprising to see people who supported Kimball doing this, but we're starting to see people who allegedly support fresh food. And basically taking upon themselves to discourage us, to attack, our confidence, to question what we're doing or make us question what we're doing.
Yeah, our confidence
And
and our competence.
exactly. And then going all in out and the I'm actually quite proud of it. I love it when I write a really good rant article. And I have one. I don't know when I'm going to publish it, but it's really good. Where I break down an experience I had recently with the veterinarian. And, um, and it was interesting because she slowly and it's funny because I told you about it and I talked to Ruby about it, Ruby of Real Dog Box. And I was just like, she was so polite, but it was also very condescending. It was polite like when you're talking to a child that's stupid and you don't wanna hurt their feelings. But it was so, like, backhanded. I mean, I had to read her message over and over again because I was just like, am I being sensitive? Is because I feel like this is insulting. My favorite part of because and it was one of those what do they call it? When you put a frog and slowly boil.
Right,
That's
right,
what I
right.
message was like, it was a slow boil where she started by questioning my use of the term fiber when referring to fur.
I know,
Then
I was like, "Have you met Doctor Connor Brady?"
and, so that was the start, and, but she tried to, say, "Well, as a colleague, I just wanted to have this conversation to her," and I was just like, "With all due respect, we're not colleagues," and that wasn't an insult to her, it's just that she's a veterinarian. She went to years of school to learn all of this stuff. She helps people get their dogs, or their pets on better diets, helps them with health stuff. I am an accountant and I post content on social media and I talk to you once a week. I mean, we are not the same. We are not colleagues. So to me, it's like it wasn't necessary for her to try to paint me in that light. But so that was the start. Then the next thing was to ask me if I've ever thought of sending my recipes in to someone to have them review to make sure that they met APCO standard. And it's like, well, one, no, that makes no sense. And two, I can formulate based on APCO through ADF. That's when our discussion went to message. And that's when she told me about her thoughts about ADF. And she said that, there's a bunch of issues with it. Lots of people try to reach out to them to discuss it with them, but they won't talk to them about it. When I did, and this wasn't all of her message, this was just part of it. And in my response, which is why it took so long to respond to her, because I wanted to make sure to cover everything. In my response, I was just sort of like, to say something like that without any evidence, no, screenshots of messages, nothing, just saying it and expecting me to just believe it. It, to me, goes back to all of this, even going back to DCM, where someone in a position of influence, as someone who's an expert, they say something and we're all just supposed to go, okay, well, she's a veterinarian. So if she says that animal diet formulator software is flawed, then I guess it's flawed. But if I ask for evidence, she has zero evidence. And she even admitted that she was just spreading gossip that she had
And
heard.
then she had never used it herself. Didn't have
No,
any specific problem with it. She just heard
sh
from somebody else.
she did not look at it
That
to
blew my
discover
mind
this.
when you said
It was
that.
I mean, and this is a professional sharing this on a platform where someone like me can do a screenshot. I mean, it's like,
And this
are you
is a professional who works for other companies.
yes. It was shocking to me. And so, there's that. And then she goes on to, and this was my favorite part, was to say that, well, she was just wanting to have a conversation with me and, she hoped she didn't offend me. But, she understands that, she's the type of person that likes to have correct, accurate information. But she understands that not everyone is like that. And maybe I'm more comfortable. This wasn't word for word, but I'm basically more comfortable being in an echo chamber. She did use that term. So basically, you're telling me that I am unwilling to learn that and to me, when people say things like that, it's like because everything I do is for my dogs. So you're basically saying I don't give a damn about my dogs and I don't give a damn about getting it right for my dogs, but I'm in some echo chamber. I don't know what echo chamber I'm in, but I guess the one where animal diet formulator software is a great tool for pet parents, and animal fiber, or, fur and feathers are considered a form of animal fiber. And I will say that, yes, technically, fur and feathers are not nutritional fiber. But when we're using that word and when people hear that word, I feel like no one is sitting here going, well, what, no one, we're talking about the gut and the roughage and things like that. And I feel like she was nitpicking just to have something to nitpick. And her goal through this entire conversation was to get me to question myself, to second guess myself, to not have confidence in what I'm doing, and ultimately to get me to stop doing what I'm doing. And this is the first time someone has come at me with this level of just like, I don't even know what to call it. Just there's a word for it, but it was just very calculated. That's the first time I've ever experienced that. And for people who are curious about the real, just all of it, I do have an article coming out on my Substack because it is wild, how this woman did. But this is something that I'm kind of seeing with a lot of veterinarians and veterinary nutritionists, where they're posting content, kind of putting down the things that we say and do, boiling things down to just very, like, they're purposefully misinterpreting things that we're saying. Like, if someone says feeding kibble is like feeding fast food, and then they're like, well, fast food isn't meant to be complete and balanced. And it's like, that's not what we mean. And I think you know what we mean. We mean
Well,
that it's highly processed.
as you said to, I think it was Dr. Pope last week, uh, the arguments are changing, right? Like that for the
Mhm.
longest time they've been trying to do this whole like, what about the
Bacteria.
bacteria? And so now it's like, they're trying to like evolve the argument or whatever because the bacteria one is complete and total bullshit.
Yeah.
And the immunocompromised one, like
Yeah.
I always say, I went through fucking chemo. I was immunocompromised. I fed raw the whole time. And guess what? I didn't have any problems, and I wasn't,
Yeah.
licking things because I don't normally lick raw chicken, you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you do basic hygiene that you would do feeding yourself, you're not gonna have any problem.
Well, and it's like you guys are saying this without evidence. Now,
Oh, and
tell me.
also don't go handling poop barehanded. That's another very important one.
If you would just, I mean, if there was some type of outbreak, like a severe outbreak, like I went and looked up the outbreaks that have happened because of food. And it basically boils down to, because it looks like it's hundreds of people, but it boils down to 3 or 4 possible cases, and in those cases, the people who got sick, they happened to be in contact with either a friend's dog that was fed raw or their dog that was fed raw, but there was never any very definitive connection, and it's like, and you guys are basing this tiny, tiny 0.00000 percentage, and you're making this argument about it and repeating it ad nauseum, and it's as if we are so stupid, and it's just like, and you're doing it to people who have been feeding raw for years without an issue, and I mean, the whole thing, but yeah, they are changing their methods, and their methods now, and I think it's pretty brilliant because so many people on social media can be easily triggered, get really defensive, don't like to be told that they're wrong. Um, it's a great way to get people to kinda crash out over
And
something.
yeah, it goes back to any engagement is good engagement, right?
Mhm. Yep. And it's like, if I would've crashed out, if I would've turned it into this huge thing, you know, done a big old live about, "Oh my gosh, this person," then she could have been like, I tried to help her and she got this wrong, and I understand that people want to do better for their dogs, and 100% support that, but it's just really important that you guys understand that, I have the degree, I have the education, and you're just taking classes online, and that's really just not enough." I honestly think that they are offended with organizations like the Feed Real Institute, CASI, the Billinghurst Institute, all of them. They're offended by the fact that regular old people are taking these courses, and probably, offended that people are offering consultations and helping people. But, not everyone can afford a ton of money to hire a veterinary nutritionist. I mean, gosh, some of these regular nutritionists are charging like $500 for a session, which is like, what do you do? I mean, because for $500, you better come to my house and make the food. Because it's like, that's a lot. I can basically buy my summer's worth of food with $500. So it's like, I'm not giving it to some stranger online, but that's another story. But yeah, so that is like, it's funny that all of our topics today seem to go around the fact of the some, not everyone, but some in the pet food or in the pet food industry and some in the veterinarian community trying to shut us up. I mean, like the article about who's coming out with the food now? Is it Royal Canin?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, in
Royal
that
Canin
article
is launching the first fresh therapeutic diet line for dogs available only through veterinarians. So
so
it's a
2 things I know.
frozen, gently cooked.
Notice they didn't call it prescription food because people have been calling BS on that for
Oh,
so
yeah,
long,
yeah.
so they're calling it therapeutic. But in one of the articles that you sent me, I one thing that stood out perfectly was the fact that they talked about how frozen and fresh has raised to be like 11 to 12% of the
The
pet food
market.
market, and they were talking about it's because people, w they are questioning the ingredients, they're questioning things, but also in there, we're humanizing our dogs. And it's like, no, no, we're not.
No, we're
That
actually
is just
dogizing our dog.
exact
We're
we just
canining our dog.
I mean, it's like, no, that is not what we're doing. But it's like even in a article where they're kind of conceding to the fact that we're demanding better food for our pets, they can't help but still put us down and make it seem like we're the ones that are doing something wrong
Right.
by wanting to feed our dogs and cats a species
Actual
appropriate
food,
diet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it
by the
just
way, those
is
those recipes look exactly like what you think they look like.
I
You know what I'm saying?
mean,
It's all
I mean,
synthetics.
yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's basically maybe 3 or 4 actual food
Food
ingredients, and
ingredients.
the rest is synthetics.
And and meat may or may not be the first ingredient.
I know potatoes were a
Mm,
big ingredient. That was just like the second ingredient on one of them. But it's just like, on one hand, I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see not so much the food. I'm happy to see that the demand is making them make a change. But I think it's interesting that even they will not give an inch when it comes to the fact that, hey, maybe. And ultimately, it comes down to money. I don't think any of these people think that we're wrong. I think that they are losing money and or they're afraid that they're gonna I think the kibble
yeah,
companies are
or
definitely
yeah, I don't know if they're losing money, but they're, like, seeing other people have money, and they're like, "Hey, I want that money too."
exactly, exactly. I mean, well, I honestly think because I think that, with especially with the DCM, we can see how impactful a really good targeted social media campaign can be. I mean, and they did exactly what you're supposed to do. If you want to go viral, if you want to gain tons of followers, you make people angry, you make people
Fear
sad, you make people
monger.
scared.
Yep.
And that's what they did. They talked about people whose dogs that died. They terrified people. There were people in my raw food co-op who were canceling their membership and going off of raw to feed Purina because they were terrified that since the raw didn't have grains in it, their dog would get DCM. And there was no convincing them otherwise. Like, people would say, "Well, that's not how this happens," and explain things, send them stuff, and they would just be like, "Yeah, but just in case, I just think I should do." I mean, they did such a good job. They terrified people,
I
and
mean, it
then
was
they
on the
outraged.
news. I mean, when you're,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hitting every news broadcast, like, yeah, there is a coordinated public
Mhm.
relations campaign going on, and a lot of money has been paid to get that out
Oh,
there.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, so it's like, it's no surprise to me that part of that would also include paying people to just go in and keep stirring stuff up. Go and join these groups and start sharing your story. Start talking about, "Oh, well, this happened to my dog, but, I took my dog to the doctor, but then when I switched my dog back to this food, his numbers went up." And the thing about it is that that's not necessarily untrue. I knew someone whose dog had heart disease, and she was terrified, and she didn't know what to do, and she contacted me. It was actually the mother of a woman that I know who does marketing. But anyway, it's so funny that I'm just remembering this now, but she contacted me to ask me, and she said, "I know you feed raw. My husband and I are not gonna feed raw." So I said, "Well, everyone is suggesting Purina Pro Plan." And she contacted me a month later, and her dog's numbers were better, her dog was doing better. So it wasn't necessarily a lie for everyone that their dogs were doing better on Purina. For me, the lie was that it was because of the grain-free. Like, they kept talking about the grain-free, not the ingredients that they
Yeah, how
replaced.
much taurine was in
Yeah,
Purina Pro Plan, added?
yeah.
Or
I
was it
mean,
a
they didn't talk
different
about
form or
I mean, it was such even today, I have talk to people that still believe that. I mean, every now and then I get a comment from someone, good luck when your dog gets DCM because you're not adding rice. And it's just like, yeah, that's not how it works. That's not how any of this
I
works.
mean, I even like the pet food stores that I shop at, like they still have people that come in and say that to them when they try to make other suggestions,
Mhm.
like or that, oh, I was feeding this, but then my vet said the and it's like
Yeah.
Tim and I talked about this, back when you used to get newspapers every day, right? Like newspaper deliver, and there'd be like some headline and everybody'd be like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." And then like the next day, buried on the last page is like, "Oh, there's like a
Yes.
retraction or like a correction," and like nobody ever sees the correction, right? Like you only ever see the big, drama making headline.
Yep. And the thing that sucks about, like with the internet, the beautiful thing about the internet is that, we basically have education at our fingertips. So for people like you and I, we're just like, "Oh my gosh, here's a topic. Let me dive in." But for the average person, like, I remember one time someone sent me a really nasty email about the fact that I said garlic was safe for dogs to eat. And I replied and said, here's some articles that explain, da 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 da. And his response to me, instead of like reading the articles, his response to me was to Google, "Is garlic safe for dogs?" And then it came up with all the things of garlic is toxic to dogs, and all these things. And he sent a screenshot of that to me. He's like, "Yes, I can Google too." And I'm like, I respond, I was like, "Well, the difference is that I've actually read these articles and this is what I'm basing." It's like you're saying that I'm wrong. I'm trying to show you this is where I'm getting my information from. These are all veterinarians. And um it was just like, wow. I mean, but people, and even now I shared something recently about garlic where it was a conversation and a discussion in a group where it was just like it was a multiple choice question about garlic. And I so many of the comments where people still believe garlic is toxic to dogs.
I
There's one
know.
person who's like, "Garlic nearly killed my dog." And I wanted to I had so many questions because I was like, "Well, did your dog have an anemic condition?" Because if your dog had some type of anemic condition, you your dog probably shouldn't have been eating garlic, but you may not have known that, and your veterinarian may not have known to tell you that because I know veterinarians who still say, I mean, I had one veterinarian say, "Well, I just wanna let you know," and I sent her, like, page blank of Dr. Royal's book, page blank of Dr. Connor Brady's book, and I just sent her all. I was like, "This is where it is," and I even took screenshots of the pages and sent them to her. And her response to me was, "Wow, I didn't realize you would get so triggered and aggressive. I guess I won't bother trying to help you in the future." And I'm just like, "I'm not triggered at all. You wanted to know." She actually asked me, "Well, show me where you're getting this information from." And I did. And instead of being like, "Oh, okay," she turned it back, and I'm the one that's an echo chamber. I mean, it's just like,
Well, at Wolf Creek, our flea tick defense has garlic in it. It's not the main ingredient, but it's
mhm,
one of the ingredients, and every week, at least once, we get somebody like, "Isn't garlic toxic for dogs?" Yeah, I mean,
mhm.
and then there's also, like, mixed thoughts about cats, and there are some holistic vets that recommend it that garlic is okay for cats in certain amounts, and we have done the math and run, like, how much garlic percentage is in our powder and what that equates to and how much a cat would be getting, and it falls within the safe, like, recommended, but it still freaks people out even about cats. And I realize cats are trickier than dogs, but
Yeah, that's why we are alternative dog moms.
yeah, I don't know nothing about cats. I am learning though. I am learning more because we have cat and dog products, but, I've never had a cat, so this is all new to me, and
But
how
yeah,
different they are is just
I
fascinating.
know, I mean, that's just it, is like, I've had people message me or comment, "Well, what about with the cat?" And I'm like, "You need to go and talk to a cat person because
Yeah.
I am not stepping into that minefield," and I have had cats. And it's just sort of like I was lucky because I had healthy cats. And so all I had to do was feed my cats fresh food, and they ate that way until they died.
Is,
Um,
is Exhibit's cat on your radar?
no.
X to the Z Exhibit. If anybody, is an old school Pimp My Ride fan, it was, like, kinda going viral that Exhibit's cat, it turned 20 years old,
Wow.
and apparently his cat has this huge fandom, and he's been talking about what his cat eats, as none of it is stuff I don't think that we would feed, but, like, his cat is 20 years old, and he has, like, a hoodie with, like, all these faces of his cat all over it, and he has all this artwork, and I don't know, I'm, like, obsessed with his cat now.
That is so great. I do, yeah,
I'm
I see
obsessed with how
Thunder
obsessed with
X
his cat
Cat.
he is.
That is so great. I'm gonna have to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, I don't know. I love it. But yeah, so yeah, this has been an eye-opening week of, just people just and it's just and my whole thing is that maybe that stuff clearly it does. It works for people who don't know any better and who haven't been, it's like I've been creating content in this community for 13 years, 12 years. So it's sort of like I've seen the people who say that raw feeders suffer from a mental disorder and kind of, what is it? Food issues because and instead of, like basically being taking it out on ourselves, we're taking it out on our dogs. So it's just like, oh, that's a stretch. The Psychology Today, someone over there wrote that article like 100 years ago. And it's just like, really? Where's the science? You guys are just making stuff up at this point. I mean, like you don't understand why anyone would want to feed, you know, a raw food diet. So it must be because they have a mental health issue and they have an eating disorder. Okay. That's good. That's a good one. Wow. But anyway,
Can I
on
just
with this.
say, I have one other comment.
Alrighty.
It's slightly gossipy, but
Okay.
so, we've not been naming the person you had this interaction with. We briefly were introduced to that person, a
Yes.
couple years ago at Super Zoo by Rodney, and I just kept thinking to myself, "Is she asking Rodney this about the recipes in his book?"
Yeah. And I bet you she's not. And that's what's so frustrating. Does she have a problem with him now? Like she has a problem with um Feed Real Institute and Animal Diet Formulator? I mean, I don't understand. And my whole thing is also one thing that just frustrates me just about human beings is that we can never just stand on our own with things. We always have to click up. And then we get involved in this clique, and it's just sort of like, the projection she did with me with about the, echo chamber. It's like, clearly you are in an echo chamber because you are comfortable spreading information that you have no evidence to support.
And that you don't have personal experience with either,
Yeah, and it's just like but this is because you're surrounded by so many people having this discussion that
apparently.
you've become comfortable with it, and we've seen this so many times where people will turn one person into a villain, and a group of people will tell the story time and time and again. Yeah, they'll pile on, and before you know it, everyone believes that it's true. And when you ask them for the evidence of it, they get angry with you because it's like, "How dare you question me? How dare you? You must not care about dogs. You're pretending to care because if you really cared, you would be as upset as we are." And it's like, "No, I just don't believe in villainizing someone without proof that they're on a villain arc." I mean, it just sounds to me like you guys just don't like her or him or them.
Yeah, something. Yeah. So I just kept thinking to myself, like, you have very publicly documented your experience with raw feeding for a long time. And you even have a senior dog. She's been raw fed nearly her whole life,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yep, so
and
she's 6 weeks old.
very healthy, very thriving. You're posting videos, you're showing like great dog. Like, if you were like, "Oh, I have this 3-year-old dog that has all these health issues,
Yes.
and this is what I'm feeding," like, okay, maybe it's like, let's check this out a little bit."
It's like,
Um,
"Hey, have you thought about having someone check out your recipes?" That would make sense.
yes, Yeah.
Yeah. But I honestly think it's because
That
how
would
dare
be
I
helpful.
share.
That would be not with, like, a weird agenda or,
Well, I think it bothers people, because that's the other thing is a lot of people will say, "Well, given the amount of influence you have and the number of followers you have, we just think you should be really careful about what you say." I haven't even hit 15,000 yet, and I can guarantee that a good percentage of those 15,000 are bots. So it's just like so
I mean,
and
there are people,
I mean, I get like, maybe if I say I get 5 to 600 reactions to my post, and I'm grateful for it. But this isn't my job. I'm not trying to make money. I just enjoy sharing content. Um, so to me, it's like it's not that big of a deal, which is another reason why I'm surprised that she reached out to me. Because I would figure that you would rather reach out to someone who's actually turned this into a business rather than someone who's just like, "Do do
'cause
do."
you're not formulating for other people, you're not
Nope.
charging money, you don't even really share your own recipes because they're for your dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not an influencer that's, like, always, saying, "Buy this product on my link," or,
Nope.
like, you're
I mean, I'm
just
the
sharing
worst
your own
influencer ever.
experiences.
I'm like the worst influencer. I mean, I'm just like I get emails from companies that are just sort of like, "Maybe we can help you with your affiliate marketing." And it's like, "Nope." I was like, "This is how it's always gonna be. Feel free to delete me. I will not be offended." Because it's just sort of like, I just I put it out there, and if I get some money, all the money does is goes back to pay for more stuff for my dogs. So that's nice. But yeah, I don't understand it, and I wish that people like, if you have a problem with people sharing content, if you think people are sharing information incorrectly, the to me, this is my opinion, I think the better, um, response is to share accurate information. If you don't like the online courses people are creating, then you create a better one. Just that's how you make a change. But just going like sneaking in the back door to tell people, oh, you're doing it wrong, is it's just this is a person that they proactively got respect from me because of who they were connected with, and I actually did really enjoy her content because I followed her. But after this experience, I was just like, "Wow, this is weird." But it does make me weirdly excited because we're making a difference. We're not just impacting, making kibble companies come up with their version of fresh food, but we're like dealing with people who consider themselves to be like the arbiters of this conversation. And we are showing that no, we actually are more effective in making changes. So that's the good news. Yay.
And apparently, raw feeding is so popular in England, they're actually creating raw feeding awards.
Yes, that's so great.
How amazing is that?
That is so awesome.
I saw
I
that
mean, that is
article and I was blown away.
I think that is so amazing. I mean, and it is. It's just like it's so what I love is like these countries and not so much the countries themselves, but sort of like the outskirts of the countries where people have been feeding this way all along. I mean, this is not anything surprising or new. I actually have a friend who moved to Montana and she's coming back this weekend and she's bringing me some beef organ blend that they make for dogs over there. And this is just some butcher. I mean, everyone, there are people out there that are just so like, "Oh yeah, this is just the way it's supposed to be." And I get a kick out of the fact that, it's being acknowledged and recognized, and it'll be interesting to see who gets an award and
Yeah.
what it's for.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that goes, and we probably don't get the same brands over here, but I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm just like, what are the categories and what are the
Yeah.
people being
I mean, is
awarded?
it gonna be similar to, like, the list will they dive deeply into, the ingredients, the sourcing, all of that type of stuff? It'll be interesting to see.
I'll have a
Yeah.
link in the show notes if you guys wanna check out. I think it's called the rewards, like rewards or I can't pronounce that properly.
I guess the last thing was the aging. what is it? The Dog Aging Project has done it again.
Yep, another, episode that we've had, yeah.
Yep. And so what is it? 922. So this is the microbiome study to date,
The
922 dogs.
largest, yeah.
Yeah. And what I loved about it is that diet influences the microbiome more than anything else. And it's like, is that including supplementation?
Yep,
See, now that's like really astounding to me because it goes back to the you can't out supplement a bad
right,
diet,
right.
because I've told people it's like, well, at least start adding this. And it's like, yeah, you need to do. And I've actually did this, taken a step back from supplementation because every few years I find myself just like completely going crazy when it comes to supplements. And I've had to take a step back and I force myself to go through every brand that I follow and choose one like if I can only buy one supplement from that brand, what will I do? And it took me 2 days
Wow.
to do it, but I figured out what I would buy and why. And I'll post that later this week where it's one of those just to get off of the supplement roller coaster and switch over more to whole foods. And for me, I don't consider green lip mussel so much as a supplement or what is it? Da, 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 what's the stuff you can get it where you are, but I can't get it where I am. It's not the milk, but the colostrum.
Mhm.
Those type of things. Gosh, I'm sweating. It's so hot. But, technically they are. You can incorporate these into a fresh food diet. But when it comes to the pills and the powders, I I sometimes wonder, I mean, you wouldn't believe the number of people that reach out to me on a weekly basis wanting me to promote their random supplement. One person sent me a message telling me all about told you about it, about it was elk antlers and elk liver, and they put them together and made little chews, and it was this magical supplement. And, I blame you for this, but I started asking questions. And I was supposed to get an email with with the science that supported what they were saying, and I kept asking them, "Are these naturally shed antlers? Are these naturally shed antlers?" And they did not respond one time to that question. And I never did get the email with the studies and stuff. So it's just like, gosh, people, do your homework. They don't care about our animals. They care about, our money. And I'm sorry, but I can buy elk antler powder and elk liver and make my own little
Whatever.
treats to give to
Yeah.
my dogs. It's like, geez, I don't need to spend a bunch of money on yours.
So the thing that I thought was most interesting with the microbiome study was that healthy dogs could have different microbiomes, like, they didn't all look the same, and so that was interesting to me because we also talk about, like, how, like, individualized our animals
Mhm.
are, right? And, like, that there is no, like, one size fits all, and it's about learning what works for your dog, and so I just thought that that was really interesting too.
And I think the thing that's really cool is I think a lot of people mistakenly assume that all the dogs in the same house are the same.
Right, and that's not the
And
case,
because it's the same thing like
apparently.
with nutritional testing. Like, I can't afford to have all my dogs tested, so I'll just test one dog because they all eat the same diet. But age, how they digest, what their gut looks like, all of that impacts it. And the same thing with gut health, when they were spayed and neutered, what they were experiencing. Like Buffy survived parvo. So the medication that
Oh,
they gave her to do that, that had a completely different impact on our gut than my other dogs who didn't experience that.
yeah.
Apollo, I think one of the reasons why he was so healthy is because he wasn't neutered at a very, I mean, he was still young, but it wasn't at a super young age. He wasn't neutered like at 8 weeks. Yeah, it's astounding to me, the things that we can learn. It is.
And when you talked about age, they do talk about in the study about how age affects, the microbiome also, so
Yeah.
so that was really interesting. Alright, so you watching anything good lately?
Am I? I feel like I am. I feel like I am, and I don't remember what it was. Oh my gosh, because I was gonna tell you about it, and it was really good. I was actually even gonna post about it. on Facebook, and I honestly cannot remember. I'm, like, going through my head of the streaming platforms of what it's on Netflix, and I have no idea. There was something that I was watching. Are you watching anything?
What have I watched? Oh, if we have any true crime fans, on Amazon Prime, there's like a three-part documentary called Murder 101, and it follows this high school sociology class. And for probably like 7 or 8 years, this teacher has been bringing serial killing victim like, unsolved serial killing victim cases with like, exploring them with his students through the lens of sociology, and they've
Mhm.
actually helped, like, track down, give names to nameless victims, and they've,
Ooh, wow.
discovered that it wasn't just one serial killer, it was multiple, and they're, examining things to determine, like, which victims they think are which ones, and anyway, this documentary follows the class, and for as much as it is about the true crime element, like, you also get the backstories of the different students, and, like, the one boy is like, "I don't really like horror or anything gross," and sometimes when they talk about gory stuff, you can see him kinda being like, "Oh, I don't wanna hear this." Um, you know, and one girl is in foster care, and it talks a little bit about her. But anyway, it's very sweet because it goes into, like, the home life and the backstory of the teacher and the students and why this is important to them, and then there's this one girl who's, like, at home making her little, like, murder board with all the, like, string, like, "This is where she was abducted, and this is where she's found," and Tim's
Oh.
like, "Oh my god, it's you!"
Oh, I cannot remember the name of the show. All I remember is that it was very I haven't finished it, and I was really enjoying it. It was really sweet, and honestly can't remember what it was for the life of me. Today, I fell down the rabbit hole. Do you know remember the show, Summer House, where
Oh,
they go to Hamptons?
yes.
Hamptons? Well, there's a follow-up show where it's the city or something where they're all officially grown up, because 'cause they're in their 30s and 40s now, and so it's following them now, and so I've just had that playing in the background all day as I've been working, and so that's the only thing that's on my mind right at the moment. But I honestly cannot remember what anyway, I bought tickets to Spider-Man, and I'm excited to see that.
When
That
does
is
that
in
come out?
July 31st. I took the day off, and my friend and I are going to see the 9 a.m. showing
Oh
and
my
then
gosh, I
go
love
lunch
it.
afterwards. I'm so excited about it. We both are. Every now and then we text each other and we're like, "I'm so excited about Spider-Man." And I wanted to see The Odyssey, because of I mean, even though there's, like, all this drama around it, I don't really care about that. I just thought it looked Nolan is a really I love the Dark Knight series, but I wanted to see it until I found out that they harm a dog or there's animal cruelty with dogs in it. So I was
Oh.
like, "Oh, yeah."
I'm like I don't like I have, like, literally 0 interest in seeing. I was like, "Yeah, I know the story, I don't need to see it."
Yeah. I was just sorta 'cause I was thinking like, "Oh, well," some people were saying and I watched the reviews, and the reviews are all over the place with some people are saying, "No, actually, I was pleasantly surprised. It's really good." And other people are going, "No, it just doesn't make any sense." And it's just like, Then I'm just like, I don't really care. I don't care. I wanna see Spider-Man, and I'm excited 'cause, you know, what, Doomsday is coming in December. So the first real, preview or trailer dropped this week, and so I was watching that over and over again. So that was, it's pretty fun. But yeah, I cannot remember the name of the show that I literally cannot I can't even remember, like, what it was about. All I knew was that it was nice. Like, it wasn't, um there was not a bunch of violence, there was not a bunch of sex. It was just following some people, and I was really, like, enjoying it, and I have no idea what it was now. So,
Was it
no.
4 seasons
No,
with,
I
like,
don't think
Tina
so.
Fey?
No. Oh, that sounds good. I love her, but no.
That's a good show.
There's
We watched
too
it.
much. There's too much on TV, and that's the problem is I'll fall into a show like Paradise. Paradise is really good, but I fell off of it and started something else and there's too much on television.
Tim gets
These
mad if I do that. We have to watch it all the way through.
I mean, it's horrible because Johan doesn't watch TV, and I'm the one that has all the streaming platforms like a nut job, and I will not get another one. I have to drop one until if I wanna get another one because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'm
But
trying to hurry up and finish the 4th or the last season of The Bear so that I can, like, pause Hulu for a while because the new Ted Lasso comes out in August, and I wanna get Apple TV back on again. 'Cause, like, I refuse to have all of them all the time because I just don't
Yeah,
watch any of them. Like, we have Netflix all the time, and then we kinda rotate the other ones, and
I should start doing that too. I'm all over the place. I mean, I have my shows that I watch on each one, and I'm a horrible person because I end up just rewatch. I swear it is on Netflix. Whatever the show is on Netflix. I just honestly have no idea what it is right now. But I can tell you that I did restart Grey's Anatomy again. But this time I restarted it, I think in season 4 or 5. I think I didn't go all the way back. So, Izzy has cancer. So that's, that's what I'm doing right now. That and watching this reality show where I'm astounded by these people living this life, and all the accountant in me is just trying to calculate how
right.
much rent is because it's like, these are some nice apartments in New York City.
I can't even imagine how much it is, but they're probably getting all kinds of
I mean, yeah,
nice
because that's like, this
apartments.
is their job. Oh, well. Oh, well, it's a great episode.
Alright, until next time.
Bye, guys.